I brought this little piece here. I have the two pieces of wood sitting here, and I'll kind of show you. You have to try to fit this in here. That's not the right way. And always be careful when you hold it in place. Okay, that's the right way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this. I'm going to put 4 markings on it. So on this side, so when I put it back together, I'll know exactly how it fits. It needs to go in place this way. The near marking is over here. The near marking is here, and it'll be facing this way. The far marking is over there facing that way, and the left will be my left and the right will be my right. So this is how it's going to fit in this little pocket here. And now I'm also going to have to mark these pieces of wood to see where how it sits. So I'm going to mark them at the edge so I know where it sits. Draw some lines with a piece of pencil. Okay, let's do that for that one too. So when I take these out, I'll know exactly where it needs to mount onto this drywall piece. So you need to also mark these little bars as left and right. So this is going to be you're going to have to do near and far on this one too. So I'm going to mark N, F, and then this is going to be the left, so I know how it gets positioned again if I don't do it correctly. Basically I'm going to put like 3 holes, probably over here, here, and here, and I'm going to put 3 holes here, here, and here. Please put 4 holes here. You can kind of see 1, 2, 3, 4 on both sides. Also my screw will actually go through it. It has to go all the way through it. I put these little piece of wood underneath this, 4 different holes on this, but I didn't go all the way on this because I need to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these screws and go all the way through this piece of wood. The through holes that I drilled, it's just starter holes for these screws to go into, but I'm going to have to manually do this before I actually put it up there on the ceiling, so that the screws go in easy and you don't have to struggle with it. See how it's been installed. I had 4 screws. It took me a little bit of time to get it in there, but it's in there. Now I have to put some tape around and put some joint compound and then do some sanding and finishing. I think in a couple of rounds this light fixture will be ready to go. I also have to put primer and paint it. So for this little opening here, I actually did the first round of spackling. You can see how rough it is around the edges. I'm going to have to sand it down to get it smooth, and then I would have to apply a second round of spackle. I actually put cloth down on the stairs so there won't be a lot of dust but I'm also again using a foil tray. The thing that makes this a little more challenging is I'm standing right over a railing, so I got to be careful. So for this first round of sanding, I'm only going to use 50 grit. I'll start using the 80 grit after a lot of this is a lot smoother. Probably in the second round, start using 80 grit with the 50 grit. But right now the surface is quite rough. I need a lot more spackling on here. Now I'm at the head of the stairs. I'm going to kind of show you. See the piece of cloth I actually put down there? That's so that all the dust that falls down comes on the cloth. And you can kind of see where I was standing on the stool, and that's where the opening is that I was working on, right above the stairs. So this light will actually light the stairwell as we walk up the stairs. That's the whole idea. But you can see how short the railing is. I'm standing over the railing there. You got to be careful when you're working on this. So I have the spackle. I'm going to apply the spackle one more time to this area. Try and smooth it out. I have a lot of spackle here. The only problem with spackle sometimes is it tends to fall if you're not careful. So I gotta do it, try to apply as much as I can, but not too much, because the excess does fall. So now you can see what I did yesterday. You can barely see a lot of gouges and imperfections in there. I have to sand it one more time. I'll see if I need to additionally add some more spackle, but I'm going to start with the 80 grit sandpaper this time, and then maybe move on to the 100 grit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start doing the same thing I did yesterday, except I'm starting with the 80 grit. So I have this camera right up to the surface here. You can see the imperfections here. I'm going to point to them. Like this one here needs some spackle or joint compound to even it out. Then there's some areas here that seem some gouges that need also some spackling. You can't see it from a distance. Some of you may say, well, this is good enough, you know, I'm going to paint over it or prime over it. That's up to you, but I'm in some ways a little bit of a perfectionist. You see that? I'm trying to show that. Okay, you see that surfaces there? Some of that may need a little more spackling and sanding to kind of smooth it out. I'm kind of showing you what it looks like close up so you can kind of get an idea. I would need some spackling in those areas. This is probably going to be the last time I sand this piece of ceiling drywall before I actually prime it. I think I'm using 100 grit sandpaper. So I think that's good. The next step would be to actually clean it. Take a damp cloth and wipe it down. And then after that we're ready to prime. And then once we prime, we can paint it. Probably 2 coats of paint. And then we're ready to put the lighting wafer fixture, light fixture in there. And I'm ready to prime it now. The only problem is there are some parts of this wall or ceiling that are kind of dirty. I need to wipe off some of the dirt. Whenever you paint or prime, you don't want dirt stains on the ceiling. So you can't see it very well, but there are a couple of spots here I need to wipe off. I'm using some soapy water and a rag and rinsing it every now and then. I wipe this off. You want the ceiling clean before you do any priming or painting. That's one thing that some people don't do. They don't realize it needs to be cleaned out. It is a lot of work, but if you want a proper paint job, you have to clean the wall before you actually get to painting. I have to put the primer in this square area. That's where I put the new drywall, but I might need some primer elsewhere too. So let me show you a few things while I wait for the ceiling to dry from my cleaning. I found a new way to actually protect the paint or the primer from falling all the way to the bottom of the stairs. You can see kind of the bottom of the stairs there. Before I was putting a piece of cloth down on the stairs, but I figured out a way where I can put like an old curtain across this, secured to that little vent that you see there. That little vent tucked in that edge, and then the rest of it is actually sitting on the railing, so that way the paint or primer won't fall down. It'll hit this little curtain, old curtain. And then I also have, as we go around the corner, I have another piece of cloth that I actually put down, and I have a step stool to actually reach up into this area, actually reach up to paint this. So that's my idea. I'll start priming it today. I'll prime it today, maybe prime it one more time tomorrow, and then I'll paint it right after that. I may need to put 1 or 2 coats. I'll see how it looks before I decide that. Then I can put the wafer light back in the opening. I'm ready to put the final light into the opening here, but first I turned off the power. I'm going to use the non-contact tester. Now before you do anything else, before I actually put this in here, I want to make sure it's going to work. Okay, I turned the power back on, and you can see the lights working. The power's turned off. So the way this is going to go in, it's got 2 clips. You can see the 2 clips here. Okay, there we go. There we go. It's in. And I'm going to turn the power back on.